Yeah, she's more than a paperback writer. Actually, Peggy Fellouris has a fascinating life, and before writing novels, she was helping people with personal psychological problems and helping them to understand themselves better. And what a pleasure it is to welcome you back to the studio, Peggy. Good morning.
Well, good morning, Phil, and thank you so much for having me here today. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Tell us a little bit of your life. You were a psychologist by training.
Yes, I served as a psychologist for family therapy, and I also had gone to law school and had an attorney, Carrie LeBlanc, working with me and for me. And it was a wonderful practice. It was marvelous because my theory was if you can keep the family together and do it somewhat happily, that's where it belonged.
Yes.
And so I worked at that, and I enjoyed it all those many years. But when my secretary said, I'm retiring, Dr. Fellouris. And I said, oh, really? What a shame. She said, yeah, you ought to think about it, too. So I thought about it for about 15 minutes, and I says, I'm going to do it with you.
Oh, why not?
So then somebody says, well, gee, now that you've retired, what are you going to do with your time? And I said, oh, I don't know. Maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do that. And finally, someone says, why don't you write? I said, write? Yeah. And they said, write novels. And I said, novels? I guess what I want to do that. And they said, look at all the stories you heard throughout all the years. You must have a head full of stories. I said, yeah, but you don't write about those. And so I said, oh, I don't know if I want to do that. So one morning I woke up in my pajamas and went right into the computer and started writing.
Unbelievable.
And then someone told me that you have to write 4 in order to be a real author. And that's so this is my 3rd novel I have today. And there's going to be a bit more out of this one that pulls into the next one so I can do a trilogy out of it.
So the first one was?
3 Boys and a Boat. And Phil, we talked about that when it first came out. And it was a story that set up in my mind by watching my grandson when he was a young boy building a boat in the backyard with his buddies. And that's really about all of him in it. But it was a wonderful, feel-good book. And So-Called Magazine was doing a great layout on it and all. So it was really great. And this past summer, I was invited by the LA Times Book Festival, and I went there, and then off the cover went 75 books, and boom, no time at all. And then I turned around and came back, and they asked me if I would go to New York. And I said, well, I really have other commitments, and I really hadn't planned to go to New York with that book. And he said, well, we want to send it anyway. And besides, in May, the New York Times Book Review had it listed as an unforgettable story.
Oh, my.
So I thought that was kind of a neat thing.
Yes.
But then when they got in touch with me just a few weeks ago, and they said, Peg, we really would like to take the 3 Boys and a Boat to London. And so it's going to be in April. It'll be at the London Book Fair.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Oh, that's so cool.
Wow, that is.
I love London.
Yeah,
That is just tremendous.
it's just a lot of fun for a person who's just doing it as a hobby,
Oh, wow.
And
That
it's
is
just,
great.
it's great. And the last 2, the 3 Boys in a Boat, and this one, The Man in the Black Cashmere Coat, they gave me little cards, the publisher did, so that you can put it on your computer and read it that way. You know how they do
Sure.
all that. Excuse me, as well as being an e-book,
Right.
that you can get from one of the stores.
Peggy Fellouris joining us, a local family counselor, mediator, and now turned novelist.
Well, thank you. But what I'm really enjoying along with writing books is I've been going over to Body Works, which is an exclusive all-women's gym over on Kings Highway. And so it's been a lot of fun because as we know, I'm a very young person, but I've been around for a long time. And there's a lot of other women who are over there that have time. And so sometimes it's nice to have new friends.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm over to Body Works, doing whether I'm swimming every morning or doing the treadmill or doing a little bit of the other things or the circuits and so forth, I'm meeting a lot of wonderful women. So I'm listening to them too. And I said, well, maybe that's the line she just gave me wouldn't be bad in a book.
There you go.
So it's a fun thing to do as well as write.
So right now, your latest is?
The Man in the Black Cashmere Coat.
Give us just a brief synopsis.
Well, there is a young boy who, of course, grows up as a man, but he loses his parents early in the story, and he goes along life's way, and the rest of the family help him very much. But somehow, well, let me say, if you could see the cover, it's a beautiful red chair that has a black cashmere coat hanging on the arm, and there's a white rose on the seat. So you say, well, that has to be a mystery, because who's supposed to sit there? What's that rose doing there? What is it all about? Well, that's the kind of mystery, and it's very nice. No one gets into real bad mischief troubles. But however, there is something that pokes at you every so often as you're reading it, and you're trying to figure out, is this a neighbor? Is this a friend? Is this the Holy Ghost? Is this the spirit of his father? Who is this, and what is this reason? Is it good? Is it bad? What's going to help it? What kinds of things are going to happen? And so that's intriguing. What makes you wonder what it's about.
How wonderful this is. Peggy Fellouris, ladies and gentlemen. Again, the title of your latest is?
The Man in the Black Cashmere Coat.
I like that.
And in the story, they said to the boy, how do you know that man has a black cashmere? He says, my grandpa has one, and he talks about his all the time.
And are you now writing your next one?
Well, I'm thinking about it. I kind of decided I'll wait until the first of the year. In January, then I'll sit down again and start writing. But I have some family commitments. A grandson just got married in a weekend. Oh, yes, and it's wonderful. And this Friday, I go babysit some great-grandchildren.
Great!
Yes.
Oh, my gosh!
Well, you know, they call me great-grandma, and I always was a great-grandma, but now I'm officially entitled.
That is so wonderful.
So I have fun doing lots of family things, too.
You've always added that element, not only to your books, but to life itself. Any advice to anyone who wants to become a writer?
Oh, I would say yes. Just sit down and start writing. I went to Oxford University in England, and they said to me, you can tell a genuine creative writer because they don't have to make notes, they don't have to make outlines, they don't have to do that. They sit down, and the characters also just start coming to you. It's just like they're bouncing out of your head. You know the girl has blonde hair. You know the fellow has big feet. You know that because you can see them and feel them as you're doing it. And anyone who has those feelings should be writing. And when you write, the author doesn't spell out every word and say everything just right. You write it as fast as it's coming to you, as fast as your fingers will go. And then you have readers. And the readers say, okay, the word is because, not 'cause, and that sort of thing. So people somehow think you have to be an English major to write a story. But we all have stories inside of us.
And getting them to fit into a novel and to make somebody want to turn the page, that's a gift. That is really a gift. Peggy, let me give you the last word here on your latest as we congratulate you with all of our very, very best wishes. What would you like to say about your book?
I'd like to say that it's available all over the place, and I feel that you'd be very comfortable. It certainly can lay on your coffee table, and anyone in the family can pick it up and read it because you'll find it's all nice words put together to give a very nice, interesting story.
You're always a delight, and I mean that. I hope to see you either in London, in Los Angeles, in New York, or someplace, and your name's up there on the billboard, and you deserve all the accolades. You're always wonderful.
Thank you, Phil. It's a delight to be here and be with you and Casey.
Peggy Fellouris. And folks, we're going to be right back in just a moment as the morning show continues. Don't go away.